So, you reinstalled Fortnite, or you installed Fortnite for the first time ever, and you can't keep up. People are too sweaty, people are building too fast, and you barely have the builds down packed. You don't know how to build. Well, today I'm going to be showing you the basics of building in Fortnite for 2022. So, first thing you want to do here is you want to load up your Fortnite, you want to click into your game modes, you want to go into the game modes made by Epic Games, and you want to click Creative. When you press creative, you want to load into your own private world when it comes up with the pop-up. So once you've loaded up creative, it's going to look different from week to week because Epic Games always changes this in game. What you want to do is you want to find your little basic portal, which isn't any of these colorful ones, but it appears like a rift. You just want to go into your world, and I'm going to make a new one here to show you what these look like. We're just going to go create new. We're going to create a basic island. You can select any islands you'd like based on aesthetics, but if you want to have the smoothest running one, I do recommend a super flat world in order to help your FPS and to have your builds as smooth as possible. I'm going to select this basic grid item here. I'm going to call this my build learn world. Confirm here. There we go. We're going to load it up. Once it loads up, we're going to run into the portal, and this is going to teach us how to build. All right, once your world loads up, just run into it through the top here. You don't want to do anything else. You just want to hit the escape or however you get to your menu, and you want to press start game. Now, the reason you want to press start game is so you don't accidentally fly the way that you actually create these maps, and that so when you break your builds actually fall and they don't spawn in next time you go to play. What you want to do is you want to land on your island, and you just want to get your builds down packed. Now, I do recommend changing your keybinds. However, the current default Fortnite keybinds are quite good. Note, I have my keybinds like so here. Please keep note also that I have meme keybinds on top of this as well. So I have secondary binds so it looks like it spells the word onyi. I don't actually use these binds, I use these ones here. What you want to do is kind of just get the basics down for how you place your builds. So first things first, you just want to kind of learn how to place your ramps. You don't want to get into edits or anything yet. And once you get your ramps down packed, you just want to kind of start cycling through all the other different builds. So learning how to place floors, learning how to place walls, learning how to place cones, and that's all of your builds that you need to have down. You don't need to learn traps or anything like that. It's not really needed. It's just for build. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with pressing these buttons, this is a really good indicator of to change your binds. To know if you're comfortable with these binds, what you need to do is you need to just kind of just cycle through placing them. If you can switch from walls to ramp real fast or walls to floor real fast, that's all you really need. So similar to how you were just placing them one by one before, you just want to place and switch and place and switch. And it doesn't have to be any type of proper build. You don't have to be cranking 90s. Just being familiar with how you place your builds down. This is a real basic guide to building in 2022. If you're not comfortable with your binds and you're really unsure what to change it to, have a really familiar feeling of where you have your hands on your controller or your keyboard and kind of select keys around that you're not going to fumble. So for me personally, what I did is I selected my favorite content creator at the time who was cracked at the game's binds, and then I made them my own. So I play on Elixir's old binds, but then I've made them my own and I've edited some keys and changed them throughout to kind of be comfortable with me. I do recommend if you don't know what to make your binds, find someone that's like kind of similar height to you, so they have like a similar hand size or something, and have your binds based on that so your hand span's the same. And for example, reaching from one side of the keyboard to the other is kind of similar to other people. Now, my binds currently I have Q for my ramp, I have C for my wall, I have E for my floor, and I have X for my edit. Now, editing is going to be the next thing we have down packed after we get used to our builds a little bit more. So the other part for building now is you want to learn how to box up. Basically just stand on a block here, and if you selected the grid world, this makes it really easy, and just place a wall and spin around. Now you can get faster at doing this so you can be as fast as possible. And once you have this down packed of placing walls around you, you almost have boxing down packed. Now what boxing is for healing, so you're less likely to get shot, or for rearranging your inventory, or for picking up mats after a fight so you don't get shot. The last part for boxing you want to get down packed is placing a floor above you and a roof on top. Now this is the most basic form of a box. I do always recommend placing a roof on top. Some of the old school ways that people used to do this is people didn't used to place roofs, but with how SMG meta currently is in the game, I do highly recommend it. So make sure you have this down packed. Now the next two forms of boxes that you want to be able to learn is placing a cone inside your box and placing a ramp inside your box. Now, in my personal opinion, learning ramps is much easier, but learning cones is more dynamic. I think if you learn cones quicker, it's going to be better for your gameplay. So if someone took this wall, for example, I could go like this, I'm covered by my cone, and I could exit here, and I'm completely covered. But that's editing, and that's going to be the next step we get into shortly. You can also place ramps too, and it allows you to exit your box quickly. Now that you're boxed up, you don't want to always be pickaxing through your builds, because especially if you're boxed up out of metal, this is going to take longer and you're more likely going to get pushed. For example, once this metal wall has fully placed, you can tell this takes more hits than it takes to hit my wood wall, and that was only halfway built. So you want to learn the basics of editing. Similar to how we learned the basics of placing our builds before, we're going to learn editing. You don't want to have to learn fast, dynamic builds really quick, but what you are going to want to learn is how to do basic edits. So you want to just place down a couple walls here to practice on, and place down a couple ramps and a couple cones, and you can learn these edits. So first edit you want to learn. Do note these timers and stuff are all going off because this is a new world and I didn't set any of the settings before starting game. Don't worry about those timers, it's just going to make sound, and if it says you have to restart your game or whatever, that's chill, you can restart it anyway. It's something to do with timers, or like that. It's weird. If you do want to make sure all this stuff doesn't happen to you and you can practice your builds without being interrupted by Fortnite's default UI stuff, all you have to do is press escape. You have to go to my island here, and then you just have to change your settings here. For example, for the settings you need to have set, I'm just going to load in my current world that I typically do use in the game, and you can pause the video and have a look at what these settings are. So as you can see here, I've made it a free-for-all. I've turned off all the matchmaking types and stuff. Just pause it and slow down the video and you can have a look at all these settings. It is a lot going on and they've changed this a lot recently, so I don't really know what most of this stuff is. But basically what it is you're removing all of the stuff where the game starts and it stops and all that stuff. And you can set fog and other bits and pieces up so that your game actually runs a lot more smooth. But this is how I typically have mine. I also set up like a little nice grass area here too. So if I press start game here, you can actually see that there is no like major timers for limits, and it's not going to come up for victory and anything as well here. Now I just thought this was just like a nice little custom touch. This is just me messing around one day, just having some nice little grass, and the fog does help my frames a fair bit. So what you want to do here is, as I was saying before, you want to place down a couple builds and you just want to kind of get used to your edits here today. So the first edit you want to get down pat is a window edit like this. Now this is a basic edit to shoot people through. This is the most basic edit I do recommend using. In my video for Astralis that I dropped on their channel on how to build lazy, I actually taught this. And this is for right hand peeking, where you edit it basically, and then you'll just shoot through it, and then you just have to reset your build whenever you don't want to get shot again. If you do play on PC, I recommend setting up scroll wheel to reset. So basically what that is when I want to reset my stuff, all I have to do is do this, roll my scroll wheel backwards, and it resets. It's really quick and simple, and I really do highly recommend it. I don't know if it's the same setup that it used to be, but essentially what it is if you go down into your settings for select building edit and then reset building edit, it's scroll wheel mouse down, and then you also want to have enabled for your settings is confirm edit on release, so you don't have to press OK basically when your edit is done. Basically you just let go of it and it sets it. So for example, my edit's there and the edit's reset just with one button. Now other edits that you do want to learn is you want to learn bottom triangle for your basic edits. Remember, we're not trying anything advanced, we're not trying to do any P&J shots, we're not, these edits don't matter. So you want to learn your bottom triangles, where you basically just make a triangle shape and then you confirm it. And then you want to let go, because you have edit on release, you don't have to press OK or anything, you just literally click and it does it for you. And then you want to learn the bottom four. Now the reason you want to learn these bottom four is, say as if you're healing, and we've already learned to box up now, rather than breaking your builds, all you have to do is edit like this, close your edit, and you're outside of your box and you can keep running around in game. Or if you're getting hard at push, it's a really nice way to exit your box. Other edits you want to learn is your basic ramp reversal. So in order to change the edit of your ramp, you want to move it this direction. This counts for moving in boxes mostly too. Do note you don't actually have to move it from one side completely to the other. If you move it from the bottom here to say just one of these corner pieces, it actually just changes the direction completely, which is less mouse movement or less controller movement, which is really nice. Rather than moving it all the way up, we have to move one to there. It's just one to the corner. Once you have that edit down pat, the last one you want to learn is some basic cone ones. This is for when you're inside a box, and that's just moving it up so it can cover you, or moving it up so it looks like a stair, for example. Say for example you're inside a box and someone's trying to push you, you can move it up like that, because say if they took this wall and they edited it, then boom, you've got an extra set of cover, and then you can do your basic triangle edit to exit. The last edit you want to learn, which is very important, is your floor edits. These ones are really basic, but basically it's just you do one, it edits one corner, you can edit two like that, and you can edit two like this as well. Now what this is for, if someone's above your builds and you're boxed up and they're trying to come down and edit on you, if they've taken the roof for example, and there's no roof there, if they're standing on the outskirts, for example, pretend this person is standing here and they've taken the roof and they're about to try and take this floor to shoot you, what you can do is you can edit this and shoot them. Or say for example you're getting pushed and someone's trying to take this wall, what you can do is you edit here, you do a basic roof edit, a basic cone edit, and then you're above them. So those are your basic edits you want to get down pat. Now you can practice these really slowly. The more you go into creative every day and you practice these, the faster you're going to get at them. I do recommend playing some 1v1 creative, which is basically like a free-for-all. It's not really 1v1, that's just what the map's called, to practice these edits in real time. But make sure you go into your settings and you turn voice chat off, or to minimal, because people are really toxic in them, and you're there to practice for you. You can put some good music on, you can vibe out, you can have a good time, you can practice your edits, and if the lobby's too sweaty you can always leave and come back to just practicing it in your little creative world. Now your other things you want to learn for getting building down pat is basically ramping and 90. So this is combining a few of these things together. So for 90s, what you want to do is you want to place two walls and a ramp, and you want to just kind of move up your ramp and do it again. You can jump to make sure you definitely appear on top of the wall. If you're at the bottom section of where your ramp is, it will automatically place. So you just want to do this as slow as possible. If you're struggling to get like the jump or the rhythm down pat, you can add a couple other pieces in it, like a floor, for example. And then you want to practice your edits for this as well. So the next edit you want to learn is actually just doing a single ramp one like this, so the ramp is no longer a full ramp and you can go down it. So basically it's going from one side to the other, and then you can just practice your builds going down like this. Now when you're in a build fight or in an actual game, although 90 is good, a lot of the time it's not very practical because you do crank too high. If I was at that height and I got shot down, I would die from fall damage. If you are 4 blocks up, I'm pretty sure you take fall damage when you fall from height. If you're 5 blocks off, I'm pretty sure you take fall damage also. Yeah, I don't have fall damage on in this world, but 5 blocks is guaranteed fall damage. You never really want to build above 4 stories high. If you build more than 4 stories high, it's showing that you're a bad player. Next builds you want to get down pat for getting height is triple ramping. So in the early days of Fortnite, what we used to do is we used to place 2 ramps like this and just run up them. Although this works to some degree sometimes, if you're going above 3 stories, it doesn't really work. I do recommend learning triple ramping, it's a bit more important. Basically what you do for that is you can place this in any order, but you place a wall, you place a stair, and you place a floor. So floor, stair, ramp. Now what this does is when someone's trying to shoot you out, they're going to have to shoot 3 builds in order to knock you down. For example, if this was a build that I was doing and I was all the way up here and someone was trying to shoot me out at this ramp, not only would they have to break the floor and have to break the wall which is covering it, but they'd also have to break the ramp. So this provides more cover. You can do this in any order you like. If you like placing the wall first, you can place the wall first. If you like placing the ramp first, you can place that. You can place the floor first. You can do building however you like. Make it your own, you know? But once you have it down packed and you practice enough, you should be able to do it very simply like this. Now you don't need to jump. That's just more something I do. But it's really, really simple once you have it down packed. So now that you have your ramping down packed and you have your boxing down packed and you have your 90s down packed, the next thing you want to learn is basic tarping. Now, tarping in Fortnite is basically rotating so you don't get pushed. Now, tarping can be very advanced to stuff like this, where you're just exiting a box and you're trying to not get shot at, to also, I do scuff these. I don't play as much as I used to, but you know, I'm pretty good. I was once top 100 players, you know, I have a little bit of earnings down my pat. I know what I'm doing. You can also learn other hard advanced tarping, which is like this, which is basically like triple ramping, but running inside of it. Moving side to side in solos is a really good technique so people can't follow your tarp, or moving it like that. But this is too advanced and we want to learn the basics of building. So what you want to learn for tarping is basically when you're rotating to zone, say if someone's there and shooting at me, I place my builds, I go up on it, make sure it's supported. If it's supported by one ramp like this, it's going to get shot down very, very easily. And then you want to place a floor and a wall like this, 2 walls like this. Then you can do your basic 3 edit, and then you place 2 more like this. And once you get a rhythm down to it, you can be like this, and it means you're just less likely to get shot at. And you can practice this as much as you like, and once you have this like nice and smooth, you can move how you like. You can also do the 4 ramps for it. You can start moving in your triple ramps to it. But basically what this allows you to do is to push without getting shot at. As you can see here, I had a lot more cover, and it was a lot easier for me to move forward if someone was on that ramp. You can move other bits and pieces into this, like placing floors above you too. So those are the basics of building in Fortnite. Other tips I do recommend for current SMG meta is pretty much, if you're tarping, don't waste your good mats, use wooden stuff, but always use brick when you can when you're in a fight. And the same goes for metal, because SMGs are really overpowered at the moment. Take it slow, learn to laugh at your mistakes. It makes the game a lot more simple. You're not going to become a god overnight, but the more you practice, the better you get. So remember to box up when you're healing and looting so you don't get shot up. Learn your basic tarping, learn your basic 90s and your basic triple ramping for height, and you've basically got it down packed. All you have to do is learn your simple builds, learn your simple edits, and that's a beginner's guide to building in Fortnite. I hope you guys really did enjoy the video. If you really think there's bits and pieces left out of this, or there's bits you're struggling with, leave it down in the comment section below. I could reply to your comment or make a video based on it too. But thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you improve at the game and get a lot better and get a lot of dubs, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next video. Goodbye.